Welcome to the Crispy Ear podcast. My name is Ellie Kerr, founding director of Merseyside Women of the Year, and I'm joined today by two fabulous guests, Serena Silcock-Prince and David Wafer. Thank you very much for coming.
Hi, Ellie.
Pleasure. Hiya, Ellie.
Serena, can we start with you?
Okay.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself, please?
So, yes, Serena Silcock-Prince, born and bred in Southport, got nominated for Merseyside Woman of the Year by the wonderful community cheerleader who is Brenda Porter. And since then, Ellie, and we've chatted about this, it's kind of opened so many doors. It's opened a lot of doors, and met some amazing people, and it's almost become a journey now. Which is amazing. Got offered the presidency of the Royal British Legion Southport, handed that over by the wonderful Claire Carragher, who did an excellent job. I've got some big boots to fill there, but I'm sure I will. And then other than that, I'm working on I work day to day in Silcock Leisure Group, which is our family business.
Are you ops manager? Director?
Yeah. So I am the kind of operations manager, head of operations, which involves kind of a little bit of everything really, a lot of social media, day-to-day running. I am the 5th generation of a family business.
Wow.
So yeah, which is more boots to fill. But I love my job day to day, and I'm very lucky that it allows me to do the social media aspect, meeting lots of different people, which I just love meeting people. And it's led on to other things. I'm working with the British Legion, Queen's Court, doing lots of charity stuff. So yeah, it's all good.
Lovely, thank you. David.
So back to follow that, isn't it?
It is.
It is. So my name is David Wafer. I am the Managing Director of McIver Scott Recruitment. I also wear a few other hats, including I'm Chair of the Institute of Directors in Liverpool. I'm on the advisory board for LFC Foundation, the advisory board for Liverpool Chamber, and I'm the token bloke as a judge for Merseyside Woman of the Year.
You are very much the token, because usually you turn up and you're the only guy there, aren't
right.
you?
Yeah.
Especially on judging day as well.
Yeah. It's I must be a glutton for punishments, that's all I can
Very
say.
much a glutton for punishment.
I get to play the devil's advocate bit on the judging day at times.
You do. Definitely you do. What makes you want to be part of and support WOTY as you have over the years?
I think for me, we still live in a society where, sadly, discrimination is far too prevalent a part of women, often in the workplace, but in other areas of life as well, where they're having to still fight for their own rights, whether it's maternity leave, equal pay, and so on. And so for me, it's something that, having 2 daughters, it's very important to champion. And I often think about, my mum was quite a feisty character, and I think that, if she would have been born a little bit later on, she would have been there at the forefront of pushing some of those exact topics. So I feel it's my job to do just that.
Do you find it's changed in the recruitment area at all?
Yes, I think one thing that has definitely improved, certainly when I was younger, you'd quite often get asked that they wanted a man or a woman for a job, and there was obviously blatant discrimination, but it was as if when, 25 years ago, as if that was relatively normal, as if that was okay to be asked, and you'd be like, well, no, I have to find the best candidate for the job. Something I will say, which might seem slightly controversial.
Oh, that's not like you.
I know. For 25 years, I've asked people when I'm interviewing them, so our kind of USP as a business is psychometric assessments. We do them on the client, but also on the candidate. And I want to understand what makes people tick, but also what type of manager has got the best out of them in the past, and what type of leadership. And when I ask people that, and I say, look, give me an understanding of what the best manager was that you worked for and the worst manager, I'd probably say, spontaneously, maybe 30 to 40% of women will often say they prefer to work for a man, which I find really sad. That's the case, and there's that, famous quote around, if women can't support other women.
There's a special place in hell.
That's right. Yes.
For women to be.
Was it Madeleine Albright, the
yes.
American US Secretary of State, that said that? Now, it astonishes me that I still have that conversation, and I'm never going to prompt that. I'm never going to, poke about for it. I'm really wanting to understand the traits of what enable them to be the best they could be. But when people are spontaneously offering me that, we also can't ignore the fact that that is still an issue, because some people feel as if they've made it, they've broken the glass ceiling, whatever way they describe it, and then some seem to either want to pull the ladder up, or they don't recognise the challenges that, maternity leave, pregnancy and so on, that it's the last time I checked, men couldn't actually have babies. So we absolutely should be embracing the fact that it often gives you greater life experience, which you can bring back into the workplace and hopefully add value.
I think that was one of the things that you were saying before, Serena, about the group of MWOTY of 2024, how they've all been so supportive, and there doesn't seem to be that.
Yeah, you're right. We've got the WhatsApp group, because obviously you're on it too, aren't you? But it's just a lovely group of very different women, but we all have the same, we've either got children, or we haven't, or we've got husbands or partners. And I think that, bringing kind of that aspect into a WhatsApp group is lovely, because it's not only just the work aspect or the networking aspect. We also get people really open their hearts in that group, and I think that's what I loved. It's very real.
But they're all very cheerleadery of each other, aren't they?
Very supportive of each other, and I love it when it kind of pings and everyone's like, I've done this, and everyone's like, oh, that's amazing, and it's very genuine. It is.
In your leadership role at Silcock's, do you find that being a woman in a leadership role?
The industry I'm in is very predominantly male. It's the amusement business. It's since being young and going to trade shows and meetings, and we're in a group called Back to this, predominantly male. But I think if you prove yourself, and which I have done, and I've stood the test of time, and with the family business, I think, you are you're treated like an equal. At one time, not so long ago, when I was a young woman, when I went to these trade fairs in kind of Earl's Court, selling machinery, the only women there were the promotion girls. The things have changed a lot since then, but the girls were the young women like myself, who are the and I think things have changed, most definitely, and definitely for the better. But I understand what David's saying, and stigma's still kind of attached. But things have changed a lot from when I think my grandma.
Yeah. So
my mum's mum, my Nana G, she started a business as a young woman when women weren't allowed to open a bank account.
No. Yeah.
So she started this business.
Very entrepreneurial.
Unbelievable. And she had 3 girls as well. Wow. And she was on her own. Her husband had passed, so she had 3 young girls, and she said it was sink or swim. So she started her own business on Pleasureland in Southport, where she bought some rock and started this business as a very young woman, made her own ice cream in her backyard, and these creamier ices, and it was called, and she did phenomenally well, bought all the children a house, bought everything. Wow. But to start a bank account, she needed to take her sister's husband, her brother-in-law, for her to open a bank account as a woman, even though she'd proved herself. I see you shaking your head there, Dave.
Crazy.
So things have progressed, and as we spoke about earlier, I'm doing lots of motivational speeches now for different organisations about these things, and I think people need to know about the past to move forward.
Definitely. I think one of the things that I think I've said it before is, like, look at your grandma.
Yeah.
That it is that saying, necessity is the mother of all invention. Because she had to survive.
There's no other option.
Yes, it was sad that she'd lost her husband, but she didn't crumble or go to pieces. It's like, right, okay, come on, roll your sleeves up, let's get stuck in, and we're off. Yeah. And, isn't it really bad that you've got to then, have the sign off from a man? Thank goodness it's not like that now. I would be in so much trouble.
She told me all the stories, Ellen. Wow. She told me all the stories, and I grew up with those stories, and they really resonated within me. I thought, well, Nana's done all that in the face of adversity. Yeah. Well, look what I could do.
I am very lucky that your two daughters, Poppy and Grace, come to help me at WOTY, and help they do. I loved it last year because they came to me and told me, because this last year was their third year. They told me what they were going to do. These are two young women. So why did you first think that it would be a good idea?
I think for me, Merseyside Woman of the Year is the pinnacle of the events calendar in Merseyside, but it also is different to lots of other events. I mean, look, let's talk frankly, there are lots of awards out there that are often decided by who sponsors what, how many tables people have bought, what PR company have spent an age, beefing up and making as juicy as possible every single nomination. However, for me, when I originally got involved with Merseyside Woman of the Year, what was different was its authenticity, that it was looking to celebrate people with real achievements across a spectrum of society. So business people, absolutely crucial, but also charities, third sectors and so on. And it had an air of the kind of business awards coupled with the Pride of Britain Awards, and bringing those two things together gives a day that is unlike any other. But also for me, what an opportunity if my daughters could get involved as a prism of inspiration when they see the people, amazing people, and the achievements of people like Serena, obviously, this last year's winner, Donna Scully, but every single one of the ladies, you're like, wow, some of the amazing things that they've achieved, and often at times through a backdrop of adversity. And there is often a theme in life that when people have faced adversity, that they have a fight or flight response, and so it's great. So for me, it's just great seeing them involved. I have to say, I wish they listened and was helpful at home, but God,
you see,
that's wishful thinking. Yes, I do
compare
compare one of them to Kevin and Perry sketch, which she loves me for. So when she eventually finds this online, she will, I'm sure, appreciate that I've mentioned that. But it's
well, they really are, and they're not just token. They don't just turn up, do they? They absolutely work the little socks off. But what I loved about it was they came, as I say, they came to tell me what they were doing last year, which was fab. So I think for me, it is the power in that room. And I think, again, you can't be what you can't see. And I think for, even the exposure of my own son to that room, of sort of like seeing that women do things differently and are different, makes other people think differently about what they can do and what they can add to the community and things. One of the things over the years that I've sort of put together is like a pillars of a foundation for success and self-belief. So it's a network, information, money and self-belief. So I just wondered, picking up on one of those pillars, is there one of them that resonates particularly with you, Serena?
I'd say the self-belief, because when I got nominated by Brenda Porter, my first kind of initial reaction was, no, not me. I actually said maybe you, and she went, I've already done it, which I loved. And I think you find that with Merseyside Woman of the Year. If you've done it yourself, you want to involve other people, you're like, look, because you see what it does, and you see what doors it kind of opens and who you get to meet. So I'd say the self-belief, because for me, life began at 40. I know that sounds crazy,
no, not
but
at all.
I wouldn't say obviously I've got a child and I was married at 30, so I'd say more professionally, I kind of came into my own and I thought, well, this is me now. Whereas I'd be a little bit maybe insecure about certain things when I was younger. In my 40s, I thought, well, this is me now and this is what I'm going to be about. And I kind of had that self-belief. And the platform of Merseyside Woman of the Year kind of opened up different things. I thought, well, people are doing it and they're doing this business and kindness and I can do it too, and I think I've ended up just saying yes to more things.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah,
because
when we all get together, and I do say to you, don't I, I do not know what's going to happen, but, buckle up, buttercup, this is going to be a bumpy ride. Because sometimes you just do not know what's... And also, I think it's what you make of as a finalist. Yes. You can either fly with it, or you can just sort of go, oh, no, that's not me.
Exactly. And you said that, Ellen, in your motivational speech before we went in. No, you did that. You had your flower crown
Oh,
on,
gosh, I know,
it was just before we went into the awards, and you said, right, this is, this is what's happening, guys, and you're going to enjoy it. It'll fly by, and it's what you make of it. And I thought, right, I'm going to go with my gut. And if I get offered something and I think that's right, I'm going to do it. And if not, I'll park it and say...
You've done a lot more guest speaking and stuff now, haven't you?
I have. And now, do you know, I was the shy girl at school that didn't really say much. No one will ever believe me.
That's changed, doesn't it?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Can't shut me up now. I think I found my voice, which, is wonderful, isn't it? And I've got a daughter too. She's 14. Definitely another Kevin and Perry. It's a tricky age. She'll kill me for that. But it's wonderful to show her that, look, I'm 40 and I, can look what you can do. So look what you could do. So whether she's interested or not.
It's one of those, isn't it? Well, I think when they see a strong woman and they see a role model, that for me is the thing. Because then they know what you can do and what's out there. And instead of sort of waiting for it to come to you, they can sort of like go, right, okay then.
Can make this happen.
Anyway, I won't talk about my son, it'll make me cry. David, what about you? Yeah. Network, information, money, self-belief.
I think for me, network is massive. Has a huge impact on your life. We all obviously know the saying that, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I think at times, particularly when we're younger, the reality is if you come from a wealthy background, that that network is kind of there as a given, whereas if you're not from a wealthy background, you don't realise the advantages that can give you in life in terms of that network. And whether it's men or women, boys or girls, that even from the job market of mum or dad as a friend who works in a big accountancy firm, or in whether it be a leisure business or hospitality, whatever it is, they have connectivity to be able to help people get a leg up. And the people, when they're younger, don't understand that privilege. Now, specific to women, a lot of the time, and I can certainly resonate with exactly what you say when you're younger, that you have that self-doubt. I see an awful lot of people who probably don't push themselves as hard as they, because there's that bit of imposter syndrome. They're not sure of their capabilities, and by getting out there and by building a network, what it also does, apart from it can help your self-worth, it gives you a useful barometer to understand where you are in the pecking order. And I think a lot of time it surprises people where they are. They presume they're on, metaphorically rung 2 of the ladder, and that everybody else is far more special and more capable than them. And then they get out there and they realise they're actually on rung 6 or 7, and that in actual fact, what do I need to go to get to rung 7 and 8? And that's not about even finances or money or business necessarily. It's about impact on life. And most of us, we all leave here in the same size box. Mine might be slightly bigger than most, let's be honest. Go easy, Serena, I've got feelings, okay? We all end up going the same place. So ultimately, it's about the difference that we can make while we're here. And I think focusing on where we are in terms of building a network will help us to do that faster and a bigger and bolder way.
That's helped you and your work with the LFC Foundation, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you know, I have a saying which I kind of, at any opportunity when I get up and speak, I will say, you know, if you've got any type of platform, please try and use that for good. And so for me, you know, our region has lots of deprivation, lots of challenges, as I'm sure anybody listening to this will know. So, you know, one of the things I do have is lots of connectivity. So if I can plug people in who are successful people or businesses to help charities, then I absolutely do. And, you know, as a result, you know, there's the Liverpool Legends game is later this year, so we can help put them in sponsors in touch. There's a gala ball in May. You know, last year Gary Barlow turned up and performed in the cathedral. But what an amazing spectacle for our city that showcases how amazing it is, while at the same time helping people, whether it be in areas of mental health or sport, or a whole plethora of areas that are really in need in our city region.
You picking up on your presidency, because we need to know more about that for the British Legion.
Yes, so I was asked, would I like to be the president? And I'd already been working a little bit with Sarah and Nick, doing a bit of charity work locally in Southport. It just felt the right thing to do.
Because that's like the bond between both of you. It's about
exactly
just like making that connectivity. And
we'd done a bit of charity stuff through the business, and then personally I'd started going down to the hub, which is on Wesley Street, which is amazing. And I just popped in with some biscuits. They liked me going because they said I brought the posh biscuits from M&S. So I had a few coffees, and you
didn't bring any today.
Sorry, Dave. So I just was pop along and speak to some of the veterans, and the stories are, honestly, we think we've got good stories. These guys have got the best stories. One gentleman told me about getting lost in action, and he had to find his way back to kind of his barracks or wherever, and he was 2 weeks through the jungle. It was just, and I said, you need to write a book. He said, I already have. I was like, all right. So just...
Well, they're the stories that need telling, aren't they? They're
amazing
because
stories.
You know, sadly, they're not always going to be here. And,
exactly.
You know,
but he's written the book, so we have to buy it.
Yeah.
And tell us a bit about I know I'm stealing your job here, Ellie.
That's okay.
You've been at the forefront of the peer campaign in
that was my next question. Thanks very much, Mr. Wafer.
Old habits die hard.
Yeah, he does. He's always the one asking the questions and the rubber gob.
I want to know, was Gary Barlow invited, or did he just turn up? You made it sound like Gary Barlow turned up.
No, he
was just wandering past the cathedral. I'll bob in and have a quick sing-song.
He was the starter, and in fairness, he gave
I'm just teasing, because you tease me. Everything kind of, like you said, every door opens and it all kind of rolled together, and in a way the presidency kind of introduced me to lots of different people. I started doing a few more things with the cadets, and then the peer campaign didn't come up. It was funny how it happened, really. The mood of the town was we wanted the pier open. It'd been closed for 2 years, and I'd heard as I was walking around town in the morning, I get my coffee, businesses saying it's really affected us.
It would.
Yeah, and I know that the council is stretched. We all knew the budget was stretched. I mean, it's a lot of money, 16 million, that have to find from Magic Money Tree. So I did an article with Andrew Brown, Stand Up for Southport. He's amazing. Does lots of him and his wife Claire do a lot of community stuff, and they're very positive about Southport, which is wonderful. We just did this kind of article. It got picked up by the BBC, and it was just, let's get our pier open. Let's all work together. I planned a meeting with Andrew Brown, with our MP, Patrick Hurley. We planned a meeting in our restaurant in Southport, which is near the pier, so it felt kind of the place it should be. Expected 40 people, as I said, 40 packets of biscuits organised, and over nearly 400 people turned up. So it was amazing, the response, and it was in people's hearts. So let's roll with this. BBC turned up, did a few interviews with them, and it's just kind of, the mood of the town is let's get our pier open. And Southport's had a tough time. I'm not going to go into detail, but it's been an awful summer, and we are a small town with a huge heart, and I think the good thing is that everybody's working together.
But I think that pier, although Southport is a destination on its own, but that pier is like the heart, isn't it? It's like the jewel in the crown, and to get it back open.
Yeah, it's a beacon, and it's a historic monument. It was built in 1860,
Wow.
Yeah, and it's the second longest pier, but the longest iron pier. So it's a national treasure, you know, it needs to be open.
Which means it's slightly older than Ellie.
Only slightly. Only slightly.
It's a good job I've known her for quite some time.
It is actually,
She's
yeah.
not going to hit you with
I'll
the
just-
brush or
She might
something.
do after.
I know,
after
but
we've
I
stopped
I was going to say, I'll just give you bruises where they won't show, but I won't.
I keep
I'll give
hiding
them
in that tree if I
I'll
was
give
Yeah,
them
no,
bruises where they
I am
won't show.
gradually getting
Celebrity.
the...
I'm just waiting for it to grow over your face and suffocate you. That's what I'm hoping for anyway.
So the meetings are ongoing and we've got a lot of support. We're hoping to start a charitable trust with everybody in Southport and just get the pier open.
Yeah, it deserves to be. It should be.
It does.
And I think as well, Southport has evoked so many memories of our childhood. I actually, only a fortnight ago, and it was Saturday, and my daughter had been playing football, and we'd picked her up, and we just decided, I live South Liverpool, Allerton, and we just decided we were going to head to Southport, and we went to the arcades, which somebody might own, and you know, we had a sort of unexpected evening.
They're the best ones,
which,
though,
which
aren't
often you know, it was great fun, you know, and I think people need to understand that one, you know, it's absolutely open for business, Southport,
Yes,
but it also needs our support, and whether it be, you know, it's all great going on a sunny day, but there's still lots to do when it's raining, and you know, I've been lucky enough to go to lots of different parts of the world. My kids have gone to some of the, you know, the big famous theme parks around the world, but they had such a fun night, you know, winning 9,000 tickets.
And then you take them all home.
Don't knock my prizes.
No.
No.
In actual fact, to be honest with you, what was the highlight of the night is they went on one thing and it won 2,000 tickets. So they ended up buying two, you know, baby sloths out of these tickets that they took home, and a whole load of other
I
stuff.
pick those prizes with the little jumpers.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness me. An insight into the buying power.
I do all the buying as well, because
there you
not
go.
that I'm a control freak or anything.
No,
not at
I
all.
wouldn't believe that
I
at
just
all.
love being involved in that, because I love, like, the stories you've just said. The children are like, oh, I love it.
But to me, it's the analogue time as well. It's that stuff not on your screens, not stuck in front of,
Yes.
you know, a television, and that's where, like, you know, those special memories come from.
And it's great fun, you know, and whether, you know, that particular day it was lashing down outside, it was cold, it didn't matter, because you're just in this little bubble, you know, and that you'll go along and you know, you'll get some fish and chips, and that's part of it.
It is, isn't
that
it?
you know, you spend the evening out, and that the reality is, we probably would have been sat in the house, and you know, teenagers,
All
one
on
in
different
one bedroom,
devices,
one in the
yeah.
other,
Different
scrolling
areas,
through, you know, TikTok or whatever it might be. So, you know, get out there, go and see Southport, and, you know, let's show that we can support it in the best way possible.
Exactly.
In the roundup of the interview, it's called Crispy Ear Podcast for a reason. What would you give yourself if you could go back, or somebody else, some advice about, and give them a crispy ear, which means sort of like, you know, some really good advice of where you are now and what you know? What would you give them a crispy ear about?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, ladies first.
I would say it's the self-belief. I really would. That I think I always kind of come back to that, in the way that, you know, fake it till you make it. You know, if you don't think you can do something, you probably can. You probably can, and don't knock yourself down and say, oh, they could do it better. Don't compare yourself to other people, because everybody's different.
Yeah, comparisonitis is a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And I used to look at people, well, I'll never be able to do it as good as that, or say, and it's not about that. It's about bringing your authentic self, your truth, and see what you can bring to the table. And I think I've been pleasantly surprised that people have gone, oh, actually, you're quite good at that, aren't you? And I was like, oh, I didn't think I'd be able to do it. So I think it's been more that.
Just go for it.
Yeah, just go for it. I wish in my 20s, I'd been a little bit more like, but then again, you know, you are where you are, and your journey takes you. And I think I'm here, like my nana used to say, everything happens for a reason. And I always come back to everything happens for a reason. She always used to say, it's Serena, you know, that was her motto, and that's what I live by.
David?
I think for me, lots of people in life are paralysed by indecision. And, you know, I remember someone saying to me a long time ago, is the world is full of flat squirrels. And it made me laugh for the fact that, you know, they kind of have that indecision in the middle of the road and they get run over. And in some ways, life can be a bit like that. You know, be decisive, make a decision. There's things that we will get right or wrong, and you can always change course. But be bold, be brave, and go for it.
And don't be a flat squirrel.
And don't be a flat squirrel.
Never heard that in my life. Flat squirrel.
There you go.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
I mean, I
But
might
there's
be
absolutely
accused of
no
it.
chance of a flat squirrel coming back, is there?
I just thought that me and my two daughters would quite often go and my wife go and feed the squirrels. They'll be recutting this to say, yeah, Dad, you're a fat grey squirrel. They'll be like, don't be a fat squirrel.
Never.
That's smooth, Serena.
In a
So,
tree.
Yeah, in a tree, yeah.
In a tree there, with some monkey nuts.
Thank you so much for your words of wisdom and for joining me today
Pleasure.
on the podcast. Thank you.
Lovely to be
This has
here.
been Ellen Kerr, Crispy Ear Podcast, signing off. Thank you.